Nippon Hoso Podcast Station.
Today we're continuing with Spy Family. はい、いいですか、アーニャさん。感情に任せて力を振るうものは真の強者とは言えません。ちょっとした意地悪くらいなら笑って流せるのがかっこいいお姉さんですよ。お姉さん。それに笑顔でいれば喧嘩なんて起きないものです。So in English, listen carefully, Miss Anya. Anyone who lets their emotions control their fists does not know the meaning of true strength. If someone's just being a little mean, being able to laugh it off makes you the cooler, bigger girl. A big girl. And if you can keep a smile on your face, fights will not happen. Lets their emotions control their fists. So let their emotions control their fists. This means to act violently based on your feelings. だから感情に拳をコントロールされる。かっこいいですね。感情に拳をコントロールされるって。拳と拳の殴り合いが一番です、ほんと。はい。戦わないのが一番ですけどね。はい。そのための言葉なのでね。Anime English Club with Sally Amaki.Hello everyone and welcome to episode 32 of the Anime English Club. I'm your host, Sally Amaki. 今週もよろしくお願いします。メールがあります。お便り待って。件名なし。No name. Oh my gosh. Anonymous. Coolio. Thank you. サリーちゃん、いつも AEC の配信ありがとうございます。いえ、そんな。全然。ありがとうございます。仕事から、そして趣味的にも海外によく行くだけに、単なる英訳のみならず、その言葉の背景や日米文化の違いなど、とてもためになる話題の連続で、本当に毎週勉強になります。いつか私もサリーちゃんみたいに自然な英語を喋れるようになりたいものです。さてさて、英語の会話を聞いていると頻繁に出てくるワード、awesome が未だに理解しきれていません。辞書で調べても、すごいとか、怖いと素晴らしいとかもうまちまち。そもそも awesome の発音がわからないし聞き取れません。サリー先生ぜひとも awesome の適切な使い方と発音を教えてください。awesome すごい怖い素晴らしい。怖いは聞いたことないですね。すごすぎて怖いってことですかね。怖いはちょっと頭から消してください。awesome で怖い使ったこともないですね。awesome まあでも発音、awesome な、発音は awesome です。awesome. AWE で、ですね。もう一気にです。awesome. でもなんだろう。あんまり、ビジネス用語ではないです。すごいとか、でもほんと素晴らしい。でも素晴らしいはもっとなんか amazing みたいな感じなんですけど、awesome も本当に oh my gosh, that was awesome みたいな。ほんと、すごかったみたいな。感じですね。なので、すごいの類義語だったら、awesome は何でも使って大丈夫です。でも本当そんぐらいのテンションですね。なんか、レポートとかで、何々は awesome でしたとかは書かないですね。本当自分の気持ちをその場で言葉で言うときに使うことが多いかもしれないです。ということで、ナナシさん、ありがとうございます。毎週聞いてくださって。That's awesome. Thank you. はい。ということで、let's get into today's episode. Today, we're continuing with Spy Family. Hi, so Spy Family is a manga created by Tatsuya Endo, which started its serialization in 2019. The TV anime adaptation started in 2022, and the third season is currently airing. The father is a spy, the mother is an assassin, and the daughter is a mind-reading esper.This is a home comedy about these three whose interests align, living together as a pretend family while hiding their true identities from each other. So in our last episode, we looked at the scene from episode 2 where Yor proposes marriage, and we learned some polite ways to bring up a topic as well as the expression for is considered. ですね。はい。今週が最後です。Spy Family. Today is the last week we're going to be covering Spy Family. So let's get into it. Without further ado, diving deep into Spy Family. はい。今日深掘りするセリフはこちらです。でれん。いいですか、アーニャさん。感情に任せて力を振るうものは真の強者とは言えません。ちょっとした意地悪くらいなら笑って流せるのがかっこいいお姉さんですよ。お姉さん。それに笑顔でいれば喧嘩なんて起きないものです。 So in English, listen carefully, Miss Anya. Anyone who lets their emotions control their fists does not know the meaning of true strength. If someone's just being a little mean, being able to laugh it off makes you the cooler, bigger girl. A big girl? And if you can keep a smile on your face, fights will not happen. All right, so one more time. Listen carefully, Miss Anya. Anyone who lets their emotions control their fists does not know the meaning of true strength. If someone's just being a little mean, being able to laugh it off makes you the cooler, bigger girl. A big girl. And if you can keep a smile on your face, fights will not happen. This line is from episode 6 in a scene where Anya recalls the special training she received from Yor. Knowing that attending a prestigious school is full of dangers, Anya asks Yor to train her in self-defense. On the day of the entrance ceremony, when Anya is bullied by some other boys, she is able to unleash the killer punch she was taught. But then she remembers Yor's words. So her words was that, don't let your emotions control your fist. Sometimes, sometimes a fist is necessary. If people, if they do you wrong too much, if you can't communicate, you need it. But anyway, let's break down some vocabs. We do not condone violence at the Anime English Club, but sometimes a fist is necessary. Anyway, let's break down some vocabs. Hi. So this week is anyone who so-and-so does not know so-and-so. So this structure means a person who does X does not understand Y. 〇〇に〇〇する人は誰でもって感じの。Anyone who doesn't have an 推し does not know what true love is. はいですね。I don't know. I pulled that out of something, but anyway. Or there's an example right here. Anyone who has ever owned a pet knows how much joy they can bring. I think my example sentence was better. Hi, anyone who doesn't have an oshi does not know what true love is. Okay. And also they do not know how much having an oshi can hurt your wallet. Yeah. I think my member, Mochizuki Rino, she has a lot of oshis. Her bank account right now, she messaged me. She was like, I only have 67 cents. Yeah. Yeah. One, that's the idle life. Two, that's what it means to have an oshi. Yeah. Bank account is going to look like having 67 cents. But anyway. Hi. See. Let their emotions control their fists. So let their emotions control their fists. This means to act violently based on your feelings. だから感情に拳をコントロールされる。かっこいいですね。感情に拳をコントロールされるって。だから、言葉で解決しようよっていうことなんですかね。Let their emotions control their fists. But like sometimes, I'm going to say this again, we do not condone violence, but sometimes, people just don't listen, like sometimes I have never been in a fight, I think, with my brother, actually. Violence is only okay if it's towards your siblings, like fighting siblings, like if, And then let their emotions control their words or actions would also work here as well. It doesn't always have to be a fist, if you're the type of person who moves before they think, you can use this phrase a lot, like my emotions control my actions. Hi. Which is terrible. That shouldn't happen. Please control yourself. Hi. ですね。次。Laugh off. So to dismiss something by laughing, to not take something seriously. So just laugh it off. Like yours telling Anya if somebody's being a little mean to you, laughing it off makes you the cooler, bigger girl. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like laughing at your bullies, it's going to turn into more violence, right? Because sometimes like laughing ってなんかさ、ちょっと挑発してる感じに感じません？じゃあちょっと笑顔によりますね。 はい。まあだから皆さんはスパイファミリー見てて、この夜さんの言葉を真に受けて、笑顔で、ってやってて、挑発してんのかってなったらちょっと危ないので、笑顔もやめましょう。真顔で、スッとね、帰るのが一番いい気がします。はい。
ちなみに作中では、
はい、
この言いつけを守って、
はい。
アーニャがめちゃくちゃ変な笑顔をして、
にーっていうやつですよね。だから本当笑顔の種類によってもっと挑発することになるんですよね。ちなみに私の笑顔って挑発的らしいんですよ。なんか反抗的らしいんです。私ね、やっぱ目が笑わず口だけ笑うんですよ。だから良くないらしいです。ちょっと下に見ちゃってる感じがしちゃうらしくて。でもなんかだって感情的に話す人に対して、なんかすっごい、なんちゃうんですよね。良くないと思います。ね。So, laugh it off, guys. Laugh it off もそうですけど、there's also walk it off. If you're doing something and you get hurt,people would be like, oh my gosh, walk it off, みたいな。なんか、例えば歩いてて、ここの、ちょっと骨ガンってテーブルの角で当てちゃった時に、いてててててってなった時に、ちょっと、落ち着いてみたいな時に、walk it off って言いますね。なんかもう歩いて、なんかちょっともう、落ち着かせてみたいな。walk it off, guys, みたいな。walk it off, みたいな感じとかですね。だから、laugh it off, walk it off。なんか、なんとかかんとか off は、なんかそれをすることによってなんかちょっと、スムーズに終わらせろっていうので off って、丸々 off って使う気がしますね。shake it off もそうですね。もうjust shake it off みたいな。なんか、嫌なこととか言われても、just もう shake it off みたいな感じのですね。あとなんかありますかね ?shake it off, laugh it off, walk it off. でも、本当何でも使えます。cry it off.You know, any verb. I feel like you can put any verb there. ですね。はい。Now let's look at the pronunciation. いいですか、アーニャさん。感情に任せて力を振るうものは、真の強者とは言えません。ちょっとした意地悪くらいなら、笑って流せるのがかっこいいお姉さんですよ。お姉さん。それに、笑顔でいれば、喧嘩なんて起きないものです。So in English, listen carefully, Miss Anya.Anyone who lets their emotions control their fists does not know the meaning of true strength. If someone's just being a little mean, being able to laugh it off makes you the cooler, bigger girl. A big girl. And if you can keep a smile on your face, fights will not happen. はい。もう一度。Listen carefully, Miss Anya. Anyone who lets their emotions control their fists does not know the meaning of true strength. If someone's just being a little mean, being able to laugh it off makes you the cooler, bigger girl. A big girl. And if you can keep a smile on your face, fights will not happen. はい。難しいとこどこだろうlaugh it off, laugh it off, laugh it off, laugh it off. Laugh it off,Use your lips as a trampoline. The second you say laugh, bounce off of that F, the laugh, and then go straight into the it, the laugh it off. So don't be like laugh it off. Like say it all together. Like laugh it off. はい。ですね。bounce off of your lips. はい。唇トランポリンですね。はい。girl も何回もやってます。みんな、いつ覚えるのgirl. もう R は過去の配信見てください。とりあえずもうベロ丸めとけばいいんですよ。Just roll your R's. はい。strength も前やったんですけども、strength is hard to pronounce. I understand. I sometimes can't pronounce it either. Strength. Don't forget the G. Don't be like strength. I mean, you can say strength, but strength, like by saying strength, it's easier to listen to. So emphasis on the G, strength. If you kind of lower your shoulders, I feel like it's a bit easier to say like strength. Yeah. The on the G ですね。はい。Also, I forgot to say, when I was talking about today's phrase, the vocab, laugh it off. Another similar thing to say would be turn the other cheek. turn the other cheek っていうフレーズがあるんですけど、or just like look the other way means if somebody's saying something mean to you, like turn the other cheek, like look the other way, like don't focus on them ですね。なんか反対ほっぺを見せろっていう turn the other cheek っていうのがあるんですけど、だからこっちで意地悪したら、反対ほっぺを見せることによってもうそっち見ないっていうことで turn the other cheek っていうフレーズがあるので、それもぜひ使ってくださいね。
アニメイングリッシュクラブ with サリー・アマキ。
Cultural context. Fights at school I feel is a bit different in Japan and where I'm from. Or I feel like if you look at a lot of Japanese like fighting movies or like gangster movies, a lot of the times fights happen between one person. Even if there's like a big crowd, people don't really step in. It's considered kind of weak to have other people with you. So final fights in like Japanese movies would usually be in like a big field or somewhere where nobody's there and be like one-on-one. But like American movies and also school fights in general, it was like a crowd of people fighting. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, that's one difference that I've realized, or that I see. But school fights. I feel like school fights are a bit more aggressive in America. Apparently the fighting chant, the fight, the chant that you do when people are fighting, that you shouldn't do, guys. Please do not chant when people are fighting, but there is a chant when you fight. It doesn't exist in Japan. なんか、戦えとかいう、なんか、決まったチャントないじゃないですか。コールアメリカにはあるんですよ。戦いのコール。戦いのファイみたいな感じのがあったりとか、なんだろう、学校の喧嘩で。American fights, like American fist fights at school, they usually happen in parking lots. And I feel like that's also a cultural difference because driver's license, you can get it when you're 16 in America, whereas in Japan, you have to be 18. Yeah, so the parking area at school is usually just for your parents or the teachers, so students don't really go there. But because a lot of the students use the student parking area, fights happen there. Also locker rooms as well. Locker rooms and just the hallways. There's fights everywhere, honestly. But parking at my school, the parking area was the most popular. And also we had a 7-Eleven and a McDonald's right next to my high school. That parking lot was also a very popular place to fight. I've never fought before though, and I don't want to because I will cry. I'm weak. I am very weak. Please do not fight with me. はい。ですね。
学校対学校みたいな。
学校対学校は地域によってはありますね。Fighting between schools though, it was usually the sports teams. Yeah, like the day before homecoming, like the football games, people from the other school would trash the field and everything. Like, yeah, that's the kind of fight that my school had. But I remember my best friend saying that her school had people bringing in bats and chains. Yeah, that's a whole different story. I've never seen people with bats and chains, but yeah, apparently it depends on what school you go to. ですね。はい。日本もバットとかチェーンとか学校へ持ってきますか？喧嘩で。
喧嘩は持ってくるよね。
はい。で、ヤンキー漫画とかじゃないです。ガチでです。ガチ。普通にはほとんどない。アーメリがあるんですよ。バットとチェーンと、銃と、ナイフと、ライターと、その他もろもろ。はい。まずで、最終的には車でウィーン、ポンっていうね。全部使うからみんな。よくない。拳と拳の殴り合いが一番です、ほんと。はい。戦わないのが一番ですけどね。はい。そのための言葉なのでね。はい。 ということで、that's it for this episode of the Anime English Club. Hi, the next episode, oh my gosh, guys, we're getting closer to Christmas, which means we're going to be talking about Toradora or Toradora, Tiger and Dragon. はい、もうクリスマスといえばトラドラですよ。ということで、トラドラ好きみたいなのあったら全然ね、感想とか送ってくださいね。Anyway, you can listen to Anime English Club as a podcast and on YouTube where you can follow along with transcripts and subtitles. You can adjust the speed however you want and listen as many times as you need to get comfortable with English. Listening over and over is really the key to mastering any language. For Japanese and English subtitles, go to youtube.com/anime-english-club or just search by the title. And the Anime English Club wants to hear from you. Please let us know any anime you'd like us to cover or specific lines. Please tell us whose line it is and which episode of the anime it's from. Or just any general English questions, we are waiting to hear from you. Email us at aec@1242.com. That is aec@1242.com. You can email me in either Japanese or English. メールは日本語でも英語でも大丈夫です。ということで、皆さん、この3週間でピーナッツを好きになってくれたでしょうか？はい、シーズン3絶賛放送中のですので、ぜひチェックしてください。Spy Family Season 3 is currently airing or streaming, so please check it out. Thank you so much for listening. また来週 See you next week. From the Nippon Hoso podcast station, this is the Anime English Club, hosted by me, Sally Maki. This episode was written by Naoki Nakamura, edited by Naoki Yamazaki, directed by Hiroshi Kochi, all from Waltz Inc. Our executive producer is Shiori Tanaka for Nippon Broadcasting System, Japan.